So the key with hiring that we found is we hire people who work directly for competitors. We want to make sure they work for at least two competitors. We want
Interesting.
to make sure that they've gotten multiple promotions during that time from our competitors because that means that they found them valuable. When you interview someone, someone's always going to say they did a great job and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But when they work for a competitor and they got multiple promotions, that means they stayed there for years, they're loyal, it's gonna be hard to get them, and they found them valuable. And when they did it at multiple competitors and they got promotions at both of them, that means multiple companies in your space found them very valuable, which means they probably do a good job.
Yeah.
Those are the people we hire.
Welcome to Seven Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the number one podcast bringing you behind the scenes with real online earners. No fake gurus here. And today we have the wonderful Neil Patel. He is kind of an OG in the space. If you guys have been around, you know this guy. He is he's definitely done a lot of talking, a lot of speeches. I've watched tons of his stuff on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you have as well if you're in this space. So I'm happy to have you here, man. Excited to chat with you. Neil's also got two kids going right now. His nanny took a day off, so he is doing nanny duty and podcast duty. So he's a busy guy.
Double win, man. Thanks for coming on.
And we also have Tyler. Yeah.
You got one boy, one girl as well?
Boy, he's sitting here with his little diaper and he doesn't want to wear clothes. And then my daughter there. One has mom's phone, one has dad's phone or iPad, and mom's taking a shower and getting ready. It's
Nice.
been a hectic day because we got to look at homes while we're here, and we
Oh,
got to get
cool.
our house in like 40-ish days, so not a lot of time.
Wow. If you don't mind me asking, any reason for the move?
We're originally from here, LA, so Vegas
Oh,
was only for a few years, and then heading back.
nice, man. Very cool.
Nice.
Man, I feel like there's so much you've done throughout your career. I know I've personally used different softwares of yours. Can you give people a little background of where you came from and like what it is you're focused on now?
Yeah, sure. So I've been an entrepreneur for a long time now. I'm 38, started when I was 15 and a half. You can round down or up, so call it 22, 23 years. And never really had a 9 to 5 job. Mainly just did the entrepreneur thing for majority of my life. My first business was a job board. It was a job board because I couldn't find a job, so I created a job board to help other people find jobs. Very few people ever came to the job board, but it taught me how to do marketing, get people to my website.
Mhm.
And then from there, my second business, the first one doesn't really count. The second one though was an ad agency, and I learned how to get traffic. So I was like, can't make money from my job board, but let me figure out how to help get other people traffic because I'm good at that. I would pick up the phone every day when I got home from school. Keep in mind, I was high school back then.
Oh, wow.
Everyone who was paying money on paid ads on Google and Yahoo and be like, yeah, you're paying for ads. I'll get you traffic without paying for ads. It'll be cheaper. And pay me if I get you results. Don't pay me if you don't. My first client was paying me $5,000 a month. Did really well. The owner of the company introduced me to his son who owned an ad agency, got 3 more clients, and 16, making around $20,000 a month. That's how I got my start. Did a few software companies in between, raised some venture capital. The ones that didn't raise venture capital did well. The ones that raised venture capital, funny enough, didn't do well. And I'm on to my current company, which I've been doing for 5, 6 years. It's called NP Digital. Stands for Neil Patel Digital. It's an ad agency. When we hit the Inc. 500 list, we're the 21st fastest growing company. Some would say that's amazing. I look at 21 as a useless number unless you want to play blackjack.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a good journey. We're at 700 and some odd employees right now, and
Wow. Wow.
we'll finish up our 5th year in October. So then we'll start year 6.
What does N?
You.
We do all the digital marketing for corporations, whether it's like SEO, paid Google ads, paid social ads, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Organic social, creating content, helping them with their email marketing, conversion rate optimization, user experience, pretty much, yeah, full end.
Oh, dude, that's wild. It's very interesting what you were saying just with respect to the ones that were venture capitalists didn't work out well, but I imagine the ones you bootstrap you were mentioning, those ones did well. Do you think there was a correlation there?
No. The one of the only one really raised a lot of venture capital, and it would have done well. It was a lawsuit that stopped it from doing well, where it else would have sold. I think we would have had a good shot to sell to like a Facebook or Microsoft. We were talking to both of them at the time, and then the lawsuit just slowed everything down. It
Oh
was over
man.
data rights and
Oh, damn.
privacy. We won the FTC investigation with flying colors. And I learned in America, sometimes when you're getting sued, even if you can win in court, it's actually cheaper to settle because insurance pays the rest. That was a very unique lesson.
Interesting. No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, man. What do you so obviously you've done a lot. There's a lot you're currently doing, 700 employees. Sounds a lot of like a lot of freaking work, man. What are you doing now that you're like most excited?
Spending time with my kids, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
I can
You know,
imagine, man.
there's not that much purpose for money. Like, and I don't mean to be arrogant about it. Like, I'm not rich or anything. I'm not no Bill Gates or Elon Musk or anything anywhere near those guys' level, right? It's like I'm like a dot, okay, and there would be like a country,
Hmm.
when you're talking about size. But I like making money. I like making money for the purpose of it's a scoreboard and it shows that I did well. I don't really care to make money for other people to know. My wife donates most of it because we don't really have a need for it. I drive a Honda Odyssey, minivan, fit 2 kids in really easily.
Yeah,
But, enjoy spending time with the kids, and I enjoy working, and
nice.
that's what I do for fun. I wanna keep making more money because I enjoy working for the aspect that I'm passionate about marketing and helping companies grow. But I don't care to and I like making money because it's a scoreboard knowing that I'm doing better, but funny enough, I don't care for the money that it makes.
Hmm.
Like, I don't have a purpose for it other than just, you know.
Do you think that happened when you had kids, or was that something you think that was always rooted?
No, my mom was a teacher. She always taught me that you don't need a lot in life. The best thing to do with money is help others.
Nice. So it's always
And don't
like
get
a
me wrong, like I do have a nice house. My wife drives a really nice car. I have a driver and a nice car as well. So like I'm
yeah,
not no saint either. We do spend
yeah.
money and probably quite a bit of it.
Mhm.
But like after a while, like it all just blends in. It's just becomes part of life.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. In
Interesting,
the
man.
sense though, that probably makes it probably makes it easier for you to make money because you're less focused on the money and more just like on the focusing on the work that you love and just trying to get that high score, you know?
Yeah, I'm focused on the work and the results because I know it drives the revenue, but plus I love the work.
Mhm.
And from the money aspect, I don't really optimize for like, what do we do this month or checking out the numbers because CFO sends out a report every single week. I mean, every month. It's more so I just want to know we're doing better than the competition because I don't like
Yeah.
losing.
That's very common in this space, man. That's awesome.
So considering you guys do everything, including SEO, man, like how do you manage to stay on top of everything? Because obviously there's always another update coming out. YouTube recently made some massive changes. Like there's always something somewhere and it's always going to be like that. How do you keep a pulse on everything?
Yeah, so we read we have a big team, so they all learn quite a bit.
Hmm.
And it helps all of us keep up to date. On top of that, we go to some of the events that Google's throwing, and we network with some of the platforms. My kids are leaving now. My wife's bribing them with cookies that has somewhere in her hand.
Amazing.
I mean, I'd leave if someone offered me cookies too. I get
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can turn off the iPad now, so that'll create less noise.
it.
Oh, they left really quickly.
Right.
Staying in a hotel right now. The hotel room has 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, but yet the kids just follow me around wherever I go.
That
I
makes
tell them
sense.
they're gonna
Yeah,
cry.
representation. You're a great father, man. What more do you want?
I love them to death.
Yeah.
It really makes me happy. I'm trying to teach my kids valuable lessons right now because the biggest problem I'm having with my kids right now is they waste food, and they'll ask for a lot of food, but they don't eat it, and they want variety. So I'm showing my daughter my son's too young, he's 2, my daughter's 4, so I'm showing my daughter pictures of kids that are starving because there's just so many people that don't have food, and we take it for granted. And I show it to her, and now she's thinking it like a game. She's not laughing, but she's like, "Oh, show me kids that are hungry."
Um,
And I'm like, "This is not funny." Like, it's not fully clicking for her,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
she's a little
Like,
girl, but yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting.
she gets that I'm saying that people don't have food, but she doesn't understand what it's like to have no food, and she asked me to show me the pictures, and then she's like, "So when's their mommy and daddy gonna give them food?" And I'm like, "Oh, their mommy and daddy don't have food either, they can't." But it's not clicking for her, right? It's not registering mentally, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping it registers soon because I'm getting fed up of, wasting food. It's not about the money, it's about the concept that you can't take things like that for granted,
Mhm.
and you can't waste it when other people don't have it. There's not like just a maybe there's abundant supply, I don't know, but either way, I look at it, there's people without it. So,
Yeah.
they're just trying to get that to click for my daughter. My son, no problem too. You'll just keep eating. You actually have to tell him to stop.
Same with my son, man. He's ridiculous.
Question for you, man, because this is something I think a lot about almost daily. After like you've kind of built your business and you're doing pretty well, you're not really worried about things you buy. And you have a lot of flexibility financially. Do you ever worry about like that you might raise like spoiled children at all? Like that's one of my biggest concerns personally is entitlement and spoil.
Yeah, so we've adjusted our lives. Like, for example, I never cared to fly on a private plane until post-COVID. So when
Yeah.
COVID happened, when it first started happening, no one knew what it was, how it was happening, no vaccines at the time. Wife and kids wanted to get out and travel, started booking private planes. Never really did that before. So then, my kids never really flew on domestic planes because they're young, right? COVID's been around, I think, for around 3 years now, so you can roughly do the math
Mhm.
there.
Is that
Uh,
man
uh,
their entire lives?
yeah, so for majority of their lives,
Wow.
and for the little one, for sure, all his life, the older one for majority. And we started going on private planes and decent sized private planes, like taking G5s to Hawaii. It's a decent sized plane with 3 cabins.
Yeah.
And I remember my daughter, we flew back from Hawaii. We landed at McCarran Airport, although I think they changed the name, but Las Vegas, I think it's Harry Reid International Airport or something like that now. But we were flying back to Las Vegas and we landed, and my daughter points out the window. She's like, Daddy, next time let's get on that plane. And she's pointing to like a normal Boeing commercial airliner that you would go on like Southwest or one of those.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, honey, we're gonna go on that. But next time you have to sit in your seat if we go on that. Because my kids are like sleeping because some of the couches turn into beds, and we've been on planes where there's actually a physical bed. And, but I was like, "No, that one bigger so I have more place to run around and have fun and more friends," and I'm like, "Oh, this doesn't work." Last time we ever flew on a private plane,
Yeah.
and we make our kids tough it out on commercial flights, and we were doing that mainly for COVID at the time,
Yeah.
and when I was flying by myself, I would just fly commercial, right? We were only doing it when we're going with our children. Yeah, and they got used to it, and then they started getting spoiled, and just there's a lot of little things like that, like, even in the hotel room we're staying at right now, it's a really nice hotel, but my kids are getting spoiled, and we're trying to slowly we're trying to find a balance of what's convenient for us and what's not, like,
Mhm.
I need space when I travel because 'cause I'm working doing interviews like that, hence I want multiple rooms in the hotel room so that way I can do things like podcast recordings. But it's just trying to find the right balance. I don't know the answer. I'm not the best father. I'm trying my best. My
No,
wife
I
is
mean, I'm just saying it's something I know I personally struggle with, like, as things have got better, like, we have a nice house in the water here in Florida. When we bought our house, it had an elevator on it. I'm like, "I'm never gonna use this elevator ever." But you know what? Every time I travel and I have all my, heavy luggage, I don't wanna carry it up 2 flights of stairs. I wanna put it in the freaking elevator and press a button. But one day, my son's gonna come home and be like, "Hey, how come our neighbor doesn't have an elevator?" And I'll be
yeah,
like, I didn't grow up with an elevator, man. Like, there's a period of my time or life when I lived with my mom and my sisters in a mobile home. And that was cool because all your friends live near you, right? So it's awesome. But
Yeah.
like it's just different. So I always think about that. Like hunger gave me drive, but I don't know what it's gonna be for him. And maybe that's not even appropriate for him. So it's just an interesting thing that I kind of struggle with is that whole dilemma.
the thing that I always try to tell my kids is they're young though. You're not gonna get anything. You gotta earn it on your own, and mommy and daddy are gonna give it away to all other kids who need it more than you. and
Mhm.
they're understanding some concepts. Like, when I used to travel, my daughter would always ask me to buy a toy. She's now seeing kids without toys who don't have money, and now when I travel, she always tells me, "Buy kids there with toys, I don't need them." Right? She's like, "I have plenty." So she's starting to learn, but she's not
Nice.
grasping every concept, right? Like the food
Yeah.
concept, she hasn't grasped yet. The abundance of toys, she has too many, other people need them, or they need books, she has a lot, don't rip books, like, some
Yeah.
kids don't have them, but they're learning slowly. I just think it's a really long journey.
No, no doubt, man. And plus, if it's the
Yeah.
only thing you've ever known, it's, the whole nature versus nurture argument. It's pretty interesting. What,
Yeah,
man, 700 people, I've been kind of thinking about that. Because a lot of people listen to this podcast. It ranges, man. There's a lot of guys who are, start up, just trying to figure their stuff out. There's other guys who are settled and they're trying to break through those various tiers. And then there's some guys that are doing a few $100 million a year. And obviously, having 700 people, that's quite a team. What does your day to day look like? Because I imagine running all those people is like a task on its own.
not really. My day-to-day is mainly dealing with management, vision, strategy, and believe it or not, doing a lot of the grunt work and customers. Do a ton of phone calls as well, do some interviews. And I don't deal with the management. I'm stuck at it. I hate it. Not fun for me. I actually enjoy doing the work and talking to clients and being involved in the campaigns. I don't know why. To me, that's fun. Managing, not fun. So, and we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
tons of managers and good ones.
What
I'm the
as,
same, man. I'm the same.
as far as
Terrible manager, great at ads.
hi-
I
as far
love
as
it.
hiring and stuff, man, because I'm kind of curious on how you built your team. 'Cause I feel like for myself, my entrepreneurial journey started with me in a bedroom trying to figure out how to like not have a job. And then it progresses. You're like, man, if I could only make 10 grand a month, I'd be the richest man in the world. And then you make 10K, like it just escalates, right? There's always this new number. And then how you change as an entrepreneur happens too. Like, you start identifying, hey, I'm really good at this, really bad at this. Like, I'm with you in the sense that I'm a shit manager, dude. I have very loose follow up. That's not a strength for me. But as
Yeah,
far as you give me any complex problem, I'll give you three very creative ways to figure it out. And so it's like kind of
exactly.
yeah. So, and man, you started when you were what, 15?
Yeah.
Like you've probably gone through all those stages and then some. So I'm almost trying to learn from you as far as like, how do I get to that next progression?
So the key with hiring that we found is we hire people who work directly for competitors. We want to make sure they work for at least two competitors. We want
Interesting.
to make sure that they've gotten multiple promotions during that time from our competitors because that means that they found them valuable. When you interview someone, someone's always going to say they did a great job and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when they work for a competitor and they got multiple promotions, that means they stayed there for years, they're loyal, it's gonna be hard to get them, and they found them valuable. And when they did it at multiple competitors and they got promotions at both of them, that means multiple companies in your space found them very valuable, which means they probably do a good job.
Yeah.
Those are the people we hire. People who have done exactly what we're trying to do, but they've done it before in our space, and other competitors have found those individuals valuable. So, like our CEO, his name is Mike Gullickson. He worked for an ad agency called iProspect, which is owned by Dentsu. I don't know how many employees iProspect has. This is a smaller division, maybe 4 to 6 or 7,000 employees. So it's
Hmm.
decent size. And he was running the whole organization. And
Wow.
then president there. And then from there, we took him and made him our CEO. And, rinse and repeat. Our head of client services worked at a lot of our competitors, did really well, head of sales, all that kind of stuff. So same model, rinse and repeat. It's worked extremely well.
Interesting. Is there any sort of like tools you use to like vet people?
LinkedIn, that's how we find all these people. And then we just reach out and we try to convince them to come work with us, assuming we like them, cultural fit, and we believe they also can do the job.
But is there any sort of like analysis that you run or have them take any tests? No, nothing like that.
We don't do the surveys or any of that. We
Yeah.
found that this is the best approach for us.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So you guys kind of always look for people not really looking for a job then.
Uh huh.
Smart.
Most of our executives come from us reaching out. Very
Yeah.
few people who work for us, at least in management, are actually looking for a job.
Yeah. Makes sense. Usually
Interesting.
people have a good home, so that makes sense. What I guess what have you learned about yourself as you grown up as an entrepreneur?
I like doing the grunt work. I love strategy. I love selling. don't like managing, and I can't turn off work, and I like working 7 days a week, and it is what it is.
How many companies do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
Just one right now, so just
Wow.
focus on digital.
Because I've always found my hardest thing is there's so many things I like to do. I kind of dabble in different places.
Yeah. It's tough. And then what we do is sometimes we dabble, but we dabble within the company, so, like, maybe the company will buy other companies and they'll just own 'em.
Gotcha.
So technically, we have multiple companies, but it's just one parent company called NP Digital, which is ad agency.
Interesting.
Software companies underneath it and stuff like that.
Very cool. What as far as what you're seeing in the digital landscape right now, what do you think are some of the biggest opportunities in the ad buying space?
The biggest opportunity that we see in the ad buying space is creatives, in which everyone just focuses on buying ads and using technology, which is great. Everyone can do that. But your leverage as a creative is like, how cool are your ads? How cool are your landing pages? What makes them unique and stand out? And everyone's just using these AI tools to just whip them up and do 1,000 of them, which is fine. But how can you come up with something that's really amazing and unique that no one else is doing?
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
man.
We found the same on our side. We solely focus on creative because you can be a shit media buyer, but with an amazing creative and you can have a successful campaign. So it's really the like the lever mover. Um,
It is. And that's what I
yeah,
think most people get wrong, and you do a combo of both, that's when you're really doing well.
yeah.
You need amazing creatives or it just doesn't work out.
And as we go on, I feel like these platforms are they're just really trying to be so hands off in a sense, so anyone can use them, right? So like, there's going to be a point where unless you're not a creative person, you're not going to be able to crank on these things because the shit ads just not going to work.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't believe AI can run your business quite yet. Maybe in the future, but I don't think we're there now. That's
I
interesting
think
what you
we're
say about
far
creatives.
from it. Yeah,
What's
we're
that?
far from AI running anything for our businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, man. I just don't think we're there yet, so I haven't thought too much about the future about it. I imagine eventually I guess we'll see. I started hearing some of those phone calls, where it's completely AI, and you can definitely tell something's off. Like, either the person's way overseas and the phone line sucks or something's going on, so we're even for a basic conversation, it doesn't seem like we're even there yet, at least at scale.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What, that's interesting about creative. As far as, like, your guys' creative process, I imagine you guys have something kinda built out?
We do. I don't know it though.
Are you a systems and process guy or more of a overall vision dude?
I'm vision dude. I'm not a systems and process type of person.
Yeah, I relate to that, man. One of the biggest initiatives we've had is find out good people who are on the team to do that because it's like once it gets that level, man. Again, I want to keep it the big idea. After that, for the day to day execution, especially, man. I found that part really painful. Doing the same thing every day, I just can't do it. But there's people who relish that whole thing.
Yeah, and we find them, right? You get good ops people and they'll create the systems and processes. You need them to really scale up.
Yeah, absolutely. What about HR? That's kind of something that, you always know you should have, but, like, it's not really something you make a priority till you're bigger. I imagine you guys have quite an HR department over there.
I know we do have an HR department. I know Michelle in HR, and that's it. I think I've talked to her maybe once on the phone.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, it's a certain point where you're not gonna know everyone who ends up working for you, sadly. I wish I did. There's just
Yeah.
too many people keep hiring, it makes it hard. Like, we'll hit 1,000 people, sooner than later. It's like, it just keeps adding up. It's too hard to get to know everyone, and again, I wish I could, it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, HR is important. I don't know what HR focuses on a daily basis or what they do or don't do. I just know it's important.
We've been, trying to focus on it more just because being a digital company, you lose that in-person effect, right? And we've noticed we've done retreats in Costa Rica, Miami, Whistler. Every year pre-COVID, we try to do something cool and bring people together. And then when COVID happened, obviously that stopped, but we noticed a direct correlation of productivity, overall happiness, all that stuff when we did that on a regular basis. So I'm like, man, I really want to build that into our culture overall because it's so easy to lose that with an online business.
Totally. And it was similar for us in which, you know, we used to have offices, the culture was great, it still is good. but it was easier to onboard new people, get them part of the systems, and have them part of the family, and just crank away. But it's much tougher to do when everything is virtual.
Yeah,
Would you go
absolutely.
back to having an office?
We still have some offices. Almost
Yeah.
everyone doesn't go to office though.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We have
Cool.
some offices that we spend like 40 grand a month and no one goes to them.
Ah, really? That's too
Yeah, it's
bad,
tough.
man.
Yeah,
And
partly.
I'm like,
you start
yeah,
having a few of 'em, it starts adding up on the bill side. But
yeah.
yeah, I know one of them goes away in January 2024, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice.
Ah, nice, man. Very cool.
What as far as the clientele you've had, I imagine that's shifted a lot throughout the years too, because you said you're more like kind of big corporate clients now.
Yeah, when we started off, it was a lot of SMB. We still have a SMB division today called NP Digital Accelerate, or NPXL. But a lot of our money is made from like global 5,000 companies.
Gotcha. Is it because we have bigger contracts, not to that level, but kind of bigger contracts. So in a lot of sense, man, like the corporate guys are a lot easier as long as your numbers are making sense for them on the board and you're not doing anything from a compliance issue. They seem to be pretty happy. Have you kind of found something similar, or do you find like they're a bit more challenging, they're demanding to work for?
Depends on the company, but most of them are more chill. You
Nice.
have to remember that when people have, let's call it $1 trillion company, and they're spending $1 million, it's like you spending $1. It doesn't mean that they don't care for it. They're more
Yeah.
chill. When you have a company that's doing $1 million in revenue and they're giving you 50 grand or 100 grand a year, it's like 5% of their money, right? 5,
Yeah.
10% on the
Yeah.
amount. It's a lot. They're gonna make sure everything goes okay. And it doesn't mean that people are ripping off small businesses or big businesses. It just means bigger businesses are more flexible because they have more powder and they
Yeah.
can make mistakes. And if they find someone they like, they're good. But we still do see some of them penny pinch in bad economies, and they all care about money, whether it's $1 or $1 million, but they're more relaxed and chill about it because the SMB, if they spend 100 grand, they're only doing 100,000, a million in revenue. That means that's 10% of their revenue, and they may be making very little to no money or breaking even. So
Mhm.
if you lose that money, it can break their business and they may not be able to afford it.
Yeah.
While the
Mhm.
large corporation, if they're spending, $1 million and they're worth $1 trillion, it's not gonna break them if something goes wrong, but yet they don't want anything to go wrong.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow. Good perspective, man. You said two global companies. You guys are in multiple countries.
We are. So US, Canada, Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Mexico, UK, France, Spain, Italy, Portugal. I'm missing a lot. Malaysia,
Everywhere.
Hong Kong, Singapore, India, Australia. We have
Holy
more.
cow, man.
Yeah, we're in a lot of different regions, but yeah, Japan.
That's
Damn.
wild. Do you think about all the languages and stuff like that? Like you must have a pretty robust team to manage all that.
We do.
Is there any particular countries that I guess you guys are finding a lot more traction versus others?
India is one of our fastest booming countries.
I heard India itself is like a really booming country right now, and it's having huge growth. I don't know too much about
Massive,
that, but
crushing it in India. It's our fastest growing region by far.
I imagine ad price is probably a little cheaper there, but I imagine it kind of makes sense with maybe affordability and things like that.
Yeah, I think it'll take a while, but I think India alone within 10 years can make us over 100 million a year in revenue.
Wow.
that's amazing. That's huge projection, man. That's
That'll
awesome.
take time. Keep in mind, we're in a ton of countries. The goal is to be in 50 countries. Right now, we're in 17, I think. We have Netherlands as well. That's another one. Yeah, I think we're in
Imagine
17.
Australia as well.
Yeah, Australia. We'll be in 20 plus by the end of this year. Next year, the goal is 35. And then the year after, hopefully, we get 50.
Do you guys open like little satellite offices in every country, or how do you guys go about like that type of expansion?
If they want an office or they think it's necessary for that region, we do. If not, we don't. You have to remember my CEO did was at a competing company that's very similar to ours and managed somewhere between 4 and 7,000 employees. He knows the number, I don't. I know it's more than 4,000, less than 7,000, and they
Yeah.
did the same thing in 50 plus countries. So it's like repeating the playbook. So I don't really have to deal with it, right? Like he already knows how to deal with this, and he already knows like, oh, here's a CFO that you need. They know how to deal with global accounting and all these other problems. Like the amount
Yeah.
of countries, the amount of states and countries we file taxes in is ridiculous.
Yeah. It sounds like it, man. 17 countries is a lot.
Yeah,
And different, obviously, rules in every country as well that you have to abide by. That's crazy.
correct.
That's really cool. Did you so I'm assuming that before you had a CEO, there was a time where you were kind of like leader of the ship. Did you just headhunt
No,
them yourself? No?
I'm the CEO of my own companies. I don't do that.
Okay.
Sorry, you
Cool.
don't do.
I'm never the CEO. I always put in a CEO from day one.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
Huh.
Smart.
So my co-founder Mike, funny enough, my CEO's name is also Mike, but we have more than two Mikes though. My co-founder Mike, he was a CEO from day one. He owns a good chunk of the business, and he transitioned out from CEO to I don't know what his title is. I don't think he knows what his title is either. He's still very heavily involved in the business and works every day on it. It's just more
Mhm.
so he's just like once we hit around 10 million in revenue, we hired a president, and then I think it was like 30, 40 million maybe is when he hired the CEO. But yeah, just overall neither him or I want to be the manager who's managing all these people because eventually we'll have 2, 3,000 employees, right? It's
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
really cool.
Dude, interesting that you do that from day one. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that before.
Yeah, I think the hardest job is be the CEO. I think it's actually the worst job.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of it's almost like a two-way relationship in the way that, like, at least the way I think about it, is as much as everyone reports to the CEO is also responsible to everyone else, making sure the right people in the right seats in the bus, they have the tools they need, et cetera, et cetera. And like, man, 7,000 people, that'd be a heavy crown to wear.
Yeah, but not my crown to wear, so it's okay.
What was that?
Not my crown that I have to wear, so it's okay.
No, it makes total sense, man. How'd you go about finding the CEO you needed? Because I imagine that's difficult to hire for.
Network, LinkedIn, same strategy.
Same stuff, huh? Interesting. Man, I'm clearly not using LinkedIn to half of its capacity.
It's a great tool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Social network.
Interesting. Feel like in our space, nobody really uses it, because like we're just like our industry's so like Wild West still. It's it's funny. So
Do you guys use it for prospecting on the client side as well?
Um, do we use what to you're saying
LinkedIn?
do we use LinkedIn to, like, get new customers?
Yeah.
We post content, we get leads from it, but, we don't do outbound through LinkedIn if that's what you're asking, like,
Yeah.
specifically reaching companies and saying, "Hey, let's set up a call." We don't really do that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Interesting, man. Yeah, it's very fascinating, dude. I've been having a thought recently. Actually, our last podcast was with a guy that does operations and stuff with companies. And I was kind of having the same thought recently of hiring a CEO. I just thought it'd always be weird because in some relation or in some ways, like your company, your business almost feels like your baby, right? So like not being there. But if anything, I think there's a lot of wisdom to that as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's look, I think everyone should try it out who's an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and I think they would like it.
Well, especially if again, if you're all about the vision, seeing the big picture, doing the day to day management, like that's just not a role that should make sense. What about interesting, man. Hire CEO. They probably told you the president to bring on the CFO, all that COO, imagine as well.
Not necessarily. Some of those pieces we had in place, but over time they help the team grow and bring in people to fill in the gaps, and we keep recruiting as well. But yeah,
Yeah. As far as how do you like? And I'm not looking for specifics, but just kind of at a high level, a guy who's, CEO for a company between 4 and 7,000 people, how do you attract a guy like him over?
Chiller life, pay him more.
Nice. Fair
That
enough.
makes sense.
'Cause when you're running a division for a publicly traded company, it sucks. Bad quarter, you're screwed, stock goes down. Like, when he'll tell me forecast for the year, I'm like, "I don't care, do whatever you think is best. I'm not here
Yeah.
to make those calls." And, like, life is chill, it's good, don't stress out. Like, when you lose a big account that's paying 8 figures, and this is like, "Dude, did we do everything we can?" "Yeah, alright, life's chill still, like, we're still doing okay, like, don't stress about stuff you can't control." Like, I don't got
Yeah.
anyone for I don't have any investors.
Yeah. I love
Most of
it,
my
dude.
competitors are cutting back drastically right now. We're doubling down right now because the market, we feel this is the best time to expand is
Yeah,
during,
absolutely.
tough
I feel
economy.
especially if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's expensive, but I have fun doing it. I'm
Yeah.
not like I said, money never really bothered me. I'm gonna donate it anyway, so I love growing and hiring and stuff like that. So might as well do what's fun.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
still let the management, my co-founder and the CEO make calls with personnel and all that kind of stuff. I try not to deal with much of that, but yeah, it's been decent.
Yeah, dude, honestly, you
Very
kinda
cool.
inspired me, man. I gotta start going down this rabbit hole a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been awesome, man. Very cool. I know you got to bounce pretty quick, man, because you got houses to look at, busy stuff going on. If someone's looking to find you, reach out to, or maybe not reach out to you because you're a busy dude, but find all your content and everything like that, what's the best way to go about it?
Neilpatel.com is where I blog, neilpatel.com. And then my ad agency is npdigital.com, my initials, digital.com.
I love it.
Awesome, man. Really
Thanks.
appreciate your time, dude. Thanks for everyone listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube. And for everyone listening, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, Neil. Have a good day. Good luck on the house hunting.
Thanks, guys.